So, welcome, willkommen. I will talk today in English and in German. Ich werde heute auf Deutsch und auf Englisch reden. Technisch ist das die beste Lösung. Technically it's the best solution. And I will, many greetings from India. I just came 3 days ago from India, from New Delhi. Viele Grüße aus Indien. Ich bin vor 3 Tagen zurückgekommen. And I was in Delhi, I was in Madhuban, I was in Bangalore. And it's a bit shocking to come back to Germany because it's so empty. Ich war so in Delhi und in Bangalore und in Madhuban. Und es ist ein bisschen schockierend, wenn man zurückkommt, weil es sind so wenig Leute hier. The airport was empty. Flughafen war ganz leer. No? Und so langsam geht's. Slowly I'm settling in. So today I first of all I want to welcome you all to the program on Science and Spirituality. Willkommen zum Programm über Wissenschaft und Spiritualität. And I will talk a bit about the power of our mind and how the power of our mind creates reality, or maybe it's not creating reality. Ich werde ein bisschen über die Kraft und Wirkung unseres Geistes reden und ob die Realität erschafft, der Geist, oder auch nicht. And I have many slides and we will do meditation and then we will have some blessings und Tobis. Ne? So, und ja, jetzt maybe we show the PowerPoint and share the screen. It's quite complicated. Es ist ein bisschen kompliziert. Oh. Muss aufmachen, die PowerPoint. Okay. But not in presenters mode. Okay. So, es gibt noch eine Technik. Ah, hier ist es. Okay, sehr gut. Now, now, of course, the remote is not working. Oder auch nicht. Naja, oh, jetzt geht's. Hast du das? You get it? Kannst du zurück machen? Es geht nicht. Go to the start, one back. Okay. Yeah, I want to start with a quote from Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, very famous guy. Ich möchte mit einem Ausspruch von Nikola Tesla beginnen, ein ganz berühmter Wissenschaftler. And Nikola Tesla said, the energy of a single thought may determine the motion of the universe. Der Nikola Tesla hat gesagt, die Energie eines einzelnen Gedanken könnte in der Lage sein, das ganze Universum zu bewegen. So it's a very interesting statement which he's saying, and let us see if this is true or not. Also es ist eine sehr interessante Aussage und schauen wir mal, ob es wahr ist oder nicht. Next slide, please. 1 minute. Okay. We have some technical issues. We tested it, wir haben es getestet, aber um 6 haben wir es getestet, hat alles funktioniert.
Meistens so.
Aber es hat schon wieder alles verstellt. Und ist jetzt gut. Ja?
So
Yeah. Can you make the next slide? Yeah. I will tell you always because it's not working. So today's presentation is it has the title The Never Ending Story. Der heutige Vortrag hat also den Titel Die nicht endende Geschichte. Gibt es ja auch einen deutschen Buchautor, Michael Ende, German author Michael Ende. And he has written a book, The Never Ending Story. Der hat ein Buch geschrieben, die niemals endende Geschichte. Und es geht also heute über Cycle of Time and the impact of our mindset from a scientific and spiritual perspective. Es geht also heute über den Einfluss unserer Geisteshaltung von der wissenschaftlichen und spirituellen Sichtweise. Next, please. So, and ich muss ein bisschen so machen. Ja, und da gibt es einen sehr interessanten, there is a very interesting scientist. His name is Sir Roger Penrose. He's a former professor of the University in Oxford. Und gibt einen sehr berühmten Wissenschaftler, Sir Roger Penrose. Und der ist ehemaliger Professor an der Universität in Oxford gewesen. Und er hat ein ziemlich interessantes Buch geschrieben. He has written a very interesting book about the history of the cycle of time. And he did all mathematics. Und er hat ein Buch geschrieben, sehr interessantes Buch über die Geschichte des Kreislaufes. Und er hat Mathematik benutzt. Also ein sehr bekannter Mathematiker, auch ein sehr berühmter. Ich glaube, er hat sogar mit Nobelpreis gewonnen. Und he made a very interesting calculation. He said basically that there is one cycle of time, and then the whole universe at the end will collapse mathematically, and then it will start again. And he called one of these cycles eons. He called it an eon. And he says there will be one eon after the next eon and after the next eon. And he's the first scientist and probably one of the very few who said that there is cycle after cycle after cycle. Because scientists, they actually don't know what is happening cycle after cycle. You know, they only know that there has been a beginning and there might be an end, but they don't know what's in between. And sagt also, Penrose is saying that, Penrose sagt also, dass ein Cycle after Cycle after Cycle ist. Und er ist einer der ganz wenigen, der sagt, dass nach jedem Kreislauf wieder ein neuer Kreislauf kommt und es endlos viele Kreisläufe sind. Ein sehr bekannter Mann, seine These auch sehr bekannt. Next, please. And here is now a very interesting picture. It shows about the Big Bang scenario, because at the moment, most of the scientists agree that the universe started with the Big Bang. That's what since 30, 40 years, they found out that the universe comes from a moment of incredible concentration. And since then it is expanding. This is what they found out mathematically. So die meisten Wissenschaftler stimmen also überein, dass das Universum mit diesem Big Bang angefangen hat. Und es fing an mit einem Punkt auf Konzentration. Und seitdem expandiert das Universum und dehnt sich aus. Und dieser Punkt, this point is called Singularity. Dieser Punkt, wo alles anfängt, heißt Singularität. Und da they say that this is a point where matter has been incredibly concentrated. And in this concentration, space and time stops. Quite interesting, space and time stops. So in dieser Singularität, da ist Materie alles so konzentriert wie in einem Samen, da gibt es keine Zeit und kein Raum. Raum und Zeit stoppen. Ganz, ganz, ganz speziell. Und von da expandiert alles, from there everything is expanding. And then here are the universes. And then, it's quite interesting, there comes a moment when the universe has expanded so much that there's no more energy, no more movement. And when there is no more movement, again time stops. And that's the same, mathematically the same as the next singularity. And that's how this Penrose actually came to cycle after cycle. Also ganz interessant, das Universum dehnt sich aus und irgendwann hat sich das maximal ausgedehnt. Und dann, wenn keine Energie mehr da ist, dann hört auch wieder die Zeit auf. Und dann ist es mathematisch das Gleiche wie am Anfang. And that's how Penrose came to this idea of the cycle after cycle after cycle. It's a very interesting proposition. Now, you know, in our spiritual Gyan, we have a very similar idea that there's a cycle, there's a beginning, there's a creation, and then there's an expansion, there's a world, it becomes old, time goes all the time on, and then at the end, there will be destruction and again creation. Ne? Und in unserem spirituellen Wissen haben wir ja eine ganz ähnliche Vorstellung. Next. Vom Kreislauf der Zeit, dass alles anfängt und dass es dann sozusagen am Ende die Zerstörung gibt und wieder eine neue Erschöpfung. And if we look in reality, reality is actually quite interesting. We have here, we have the time arrow. And here we have the past. Can you make this a little bit lower?
Yes.
Thank you, that's good. So, and here we have the past. That's the time. So the past comes, meets in a point, and then it becomes the future. And this area is the space. Left, right, forward, backward. And here's the observer. We are always here in this particular moment. 1 second is already the past. And the future, next second, becomes the present and becomes the past. And that's our reality in the drama. We are always in the time arrow. Wir sind also die ganze Zeit im Zeitpfeil eingebunden und wir sind eingebunden in den Raum. Links, rechts, vorwärts, rückwärts, oben, unten, die 3 Dimensionen. It's the 3-dimensional space plus the time. And that's our reality. And when you become a point, then you get out of this space-time. And that's eternity. It's very interesting. And this is also a condition which Baba describes in the point meditation, when you become Bindu, a point of light. Das ist also auch ein Zustand, den man in der Meditation erreichen kann. Bindu-Stufe, ein Punkt des Lichts. And then time and space, they stop. Und interestingly, this is also the condition at the beginning of the universe. Interessanterweise ist es auch der Zustand, als das Universum begann. Die Singularität oder auch die Punktstufe, wie sie genannt wird. Next, please.
Die Punkt was?
Die Punktstufe. So, und ganz interessanterweise im Hinduismus gibt es ja diese alte Vorstellung des Kreislaufs der Zeiten mit den verschiedenen Zeitaltern. Das ist jetzt mal so eine klassische Ansicht der Zeit und des Kreislaufes im Hinduismus. Das habe ich von so einer Webpage runtergeladen, die sich mit Hinduismus beschäftigt, nach den Vedas, nach den Schriften. Und danach sind wir im Kali-Yuga, aber das Kali-Yuga soll noch 40.000 Jahre dauern. So as per the Hinduismus, Kali-Yuga should last another 40,000 years. And as per the Hinduism, this whole cycle is millions of years long. That's as per the Hinduism. But quite interesting, as per the Vedas, but quite interestingly, they already have Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Sat Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And Sat Yuga, the golden age, actually the translation is Age of Truth. Und interessanterweise ist die Übersetzung für das Sat Yuga das Zeitalter der Wahrheit. Ganz interessant. Yoga, ne? Ganz interessant. Next, please. And here you will find now the Brahma Kumaris cycle of time. And the interesting part is, or the big difference is, in the Brahma Kumaris cycle of time, that we have a defined time period of 5,000 years. And we have an identical repetition of each cycle. That's quite a difference to the traditional Hindu cycle. So in Brahma Kumaris haben wir 5.000 Jahre und identische Wiederholungen. Das ist ein sehr großer Unterschied zu dem traditionellen Hinduismus. Ja, und am Ende, at the end of each cycle, in the Hinduism, but also in Brahma Kumaris, we have what we call the destruction, Dharam Raj, or the end, or the moment, you can say, when time and space collapses and go into singularity, when everything stops. Und nach Hinduismus, aber auch nach Brahma Kumaris, kommt am Ende des Kreislaufs ja die Zerstörung. Und es ist auch der Moment nach der Physik, wenn Raum und Zeit kollabiert und alles in den Punkt geht. Und bevor das passiert, before this happens, we have something called Dharam Raj, the destruction, the end of times. And interestingly, I downloaded this today. This is the latest scientific report from the Earth Commission. The Earth Commission was published in Nature magazine, very reputable. And the Earth Commission is 40 of the top scientists worldwide from all the top research institutes. They all formed a commission and they give reports and advices. And it's the synthesis of the latest scientific finding. And this was published 3 days ago. It's very, very latest. And what they say is they have defined, it's actually Potsdam Climate Research Institute, which is leading in this. And Professor Rockström, which we met many times at the climate conference, is the lead author. So what they say is that human activity has pushed the world into danger zone. And they have identified 8 different zones. So this is the natural ecosystem, this is climate change, this is surface water, groundwater, nitrogen, phosphorus and aerosol air pollution. Und diese Earth Commission hat also 8 verschiedene Bereiche identifiziert, die ganz, ganz wichtig sind. Und die haben gesagt, dass die menschliche Aktivität in 7 von 8 Bereichen sind wir außerhalb von Grün, sind wir überall hier schon, sind wir schon im kritischen Bereich. It means we have left the safe space or the safe zone for further existence of humanity on the planet. And this they just said 3 days ago. And out of 7 areas, major areas, in 7 out of 8, 7 we have crossed into danger zone. And they say these are the indicators of planetary safety and justice according to groundbreaking analysis of the Earth well-being. Das ist also die Analyse all dieser Parameter, die für die Gesundheit des Planeten zuständig sind. And a doctor would say the planet Earth is sick and planet Earth is on the intensive care and planet Earth is dying. This is what a doctor would say. Also wenn man einen Patienten hätte und wir im Krankenhaus und die Erde wäre im Krankenhaus, wir wären auf der Intensivstation und der Doktor würde sagen, die Erde ist sehr, sehr krank und ist gerade dabei zu sterben. And this is what this report says. And here you see the hotspots of this development. So you see India is very much affected by climate change. The weather changes in India are quite dramatic. And in India, the resources are all used up because 1.4 billion people, small area. But you see Europe also, because here the Industrial Revolution started. And also the whole Middle East, and then also big parts of Africa. So diese Karte zeigt die Hotspots an, wo es also diese Entwicklung schon sehr weit fortgeschritten ist. Man sieht also, Indien ist alles rot, Europa auch, aber auch viele Teile vom Nahen Osten und Afrika. Humans have pushed the planet in danger zone, and the planet is dying. Die Menschen haben also den Planeten in eine gefährlichen Bereich gebracht und der Planet stirbt. Ja. So, und das ist, the end is near. You know this is Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is a very famous scientist. And he's saying the end is near. So this has become now mainstream. When we were last time at the climate conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, a lot of people privately, they told us, we're done. It's quite interesting. But officially, they say, oh, we can do this and maybe a little bit this and then maybe something, and maybe we will mitigate and do this and that and some new science and we fix it. But privately, they say, we are done. Also privat in der Klimakonferenz haben viele Leute uns auch gesagt, dass da nichts mehr zu machen ist. Aber offiziell will es keiner zugeben. That's the situation right now. But if you look in the newspapers, the news are quite dramatic. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, and this would not only mean the end for the world, but it would mean the end of the existence for the whole cosmos. We're not talking only of a planetary event, the cycle of time, it's a universal event. Also das bedeutet nicht nur das Ende für die Welt, sondern auch für den ganzen Kosmos, denn wir reden hier nicht über ein planetarisches Ereignis, sondern über ein universelles Ereignis. And next, one more time. So, and there is a very interesting book has been published recently from the author Katie Mack. And the book is titled The End of Everything. And she's a scientist, a physicist, and she collected the five most likely endings of our universe. And very interesting is one is called The Big Crunch. Also es gibt dieses Buch von der Katie Mack, das Ende von allem. Und sie ist eine Physikerin, Wissenschaftlerin. Und sie hat also die 5 wahrscheinlichsten Endszenarien für die Welt gesammelt. And she came up with 5 theories which are possible, mathematically and scientifically possible, the end for the whole universe. The first one is the big crunch, that gravity will become so strong that everything will collapse. The next is the heat death. It will become too hot. Don't ask me how it works. I didn't understand. The other is the big rip, that everything will be torn apart. Also some weird gravitational. Another is a vacuum decay. Everything is expanding into nothingness and there's nothing left over because everything is gone into endless space and nothing is left. And the last is the bounce. The universe is expanding, bouncing back, expanding, bouncing back, expanding, bouncing back in an endless repeating manner. This may sound similar to us because this fits with the cycle of time. Sie hat also 5 verschiedene Endszenarien gesammelt. Ich will es jetzt nicht auf Deutsch alles erklären, aber am Ende ist Bounce, das der Zurücksprung, dass alles immer auseinandergeht und zurückgeht. Ja, und next please. This is very interesting to read the book. I read the summary. It's very interesting. And this is all about the whole universe. But now, of course, the big question is science in a position actually to explain everything and each thing? Because in science, we have so many theories, so many ideas are there, and the scientists are all fighting against each other at the conferences. I went a little bit into YouTube and looked up scientists and their statements, and there was a podium discussion. Oh, they were going at each other without mercy. And I said, oh, wow. You know, one said, oh, no, this theory. And the other said, no, that's not right. That's not right. It's this theory. You know, they're smart, but so many theories and science is not agreeing. Also wenn man in die Wissenschaft geht, da geht es dann auch manchmal handfest zur Sache und die bekämpfen sich auch alle. Und die Wissenschaft wird nicht unbedingt in der Lage sein, die Antwort zu geben. Science may not be in a position to give the answer. And Max Planck, very famous physicist, Nobel laureate, he said, science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because in the last analysis, we ourselves, if we are in the body, we are part of nature and therefore part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. Basically, it says we cannot resolve the last sequence because as long as we are going through the body and through the physical senses, we are part of the mystery and we cannot find the real secret, what's going on. That's why Baba always tells us children become soul conscious. And if you become soul conscious, you will be able, not everybody, but some of us will be able to open the third eye and see what is real, what is reality. Reality is matter doesn't exist, it's all energy. It's all vibration. So, Max Planck hat also gesagt, wir können letztendlich die letzten Geheimnisse nicht ergründen, weil wir ja selber Teil der Natur sind. Und solange wir im Körperbewusstsein sind und mit Geräten, Mikroskopen und so weiter versuchen, alles zu ergründen, klappt das nicht. Und deshalb sagt Baba immer, werdet seelenbewusst. Dann könnt ihr das ergründen. So, und die Wissenschaft hat eine ganz interessante Geschichte. Science has a very interesting history. If you look a little bit, I wanted to find out what's actually, since scientific revolution 200 years ago, what actually they came up with different theories and where are we right now? Ich habe also mal ein bisschen eine Recherche gemacht über Wissenschaftsgeschichte. Was ist da passiert? Wie fing das vor 200 Jahren an? And it's quite interesting. One of the first guys was Newton. And Newton came up with the law of gravity. And it was so nice because with the help of Newton, for the first time, you could calculate the orbits of the planets. And that was a sensation. You could calculate Venus, Jupiter, the moon, because he came up with the gravitational laws, which are still working. They're still working. They're still right. And that was a sensation. So it started with Einstein, with Newton, and then this was also the beginning, what we call the mechanistic worldview. Es hat also alles mit Newton angefangen, der konnte die Planeten berechnen, das war eine Sensation. Und da fing auch das mechanistische Weltbild an. Approximately 200 years ago. They say God doesn't exist. We humans only need mathematics and proper technology and we can fix all the problems. That was 200 years ago. So, and then another big step was Einstein. Einstein formulated the theory of general relativity, EMC squared. And he said that speed of light is the maximum 300,000 kilometer. Nothing can go faster. Da kam also Einstein, der hat die Relativitätstheorie entwickelt. Und der hat gesagt, Lichtgeschwindigkeit ist das Maximum, nichts kann schneller. Und Einsteins theory led to the Big Bang theory, black holes, and gave mathematics for the atomic bombs. So Einsteins theory was quite powerful. Einsteins Theorie hat uns also die Big Bang Theorie gebracht, die Atombomben und auch schwarze Löcher. Das konnte man alles mit Einstein berechnen. But then there was a problem. When Einstein was working in the macrocosmos, in the big world, but when you went into the small things, very, very, very small things, very, very, very tiny things, then theory of relativity was not working anymore. And that's where they came up with quantum physics. Quantum physics is actually the theory of the small things, because Einstein did not work in Einstein's relativity theory did not always work when you go in the microcosmos, smaller and smaller and smaller on atomic and subatomic level. And then came this very famous quantum mechanic scientists, Max Planck, Niels Bohr, Heisenberg, Pauli, Schrödinger, and Feynman. And here are the pictures. They all came in the 20s. And there was a big battle, which theory was actually right. And all modern computers, all chips, so many inventions, they're based on quantum mechanics and quantum mathematics. It's all quantum. And quantum works on the small scale very nicely. Next one, please. So this is a bit the theory about everything. But science is still searching for the unified field theory. Die Wissenschaftler sind immer noch am Suchen nach der, auf Deutsch, Unified Field Theory, der vereinigten Feldtheorie. Oh, my German, oje, oje, I'm so rusty. And and there are two big questions. The one question is nature deterministic? It means is all predestined, or is everything free and chaotic? These were the big questions. Und die große Frage war, ist denn alles vorherbestimmt oder findet alles zufällig statt? Und science, as I said, cannot always give the answer. I found this quote and I liked it very much. You know, history of physics. Aristotle said a bunch of stuff that was wrong. Aristotle is one of the Greek famous philosophers and mathematicians. Galileo and Newton fixed things up. Then Einstein broke everything again. Now we've basically got it all worked out, except for small, big, hot, cold, fast, heavy, and dark stuff, turbulence, and all the other concept of time. So Aristoteles hat vieles verkehrt verstanden. Galileo und Newton haben dann alles richtig erklärt. Einstein hat dann alles wieder auseinandergebrochen. Und jetzt haben wir eigentlich alles verstanden, außer schmale kleine Sachen, großen Sachen, heiße Sachen, kalt, schnell, heavy, dark, turbulence und das Konzept von time. Also nichts haben wir verstanden. Wir haben eigentlich nichts verstanden. We actually have not understood anything. And that's where science is right now. So if you go on the internet and you look up what's going on, you find one lady, she says there's some concept, it's called string theory. And then there's another theory, it's called multiple universes. We are not living, by the way, in one universe, because every decision which you take, like I take a glass of water now, or I don't take a glass of water. This is a quantum event, and the universe splits in two. In one universe, I will drink the water. In the other universe, I will not drink the water. So there will be two universes parallel. And this happens from the beginning of time. And these are all these Hollywood movies where people travel in multiple universes. And there are many scientists who they come up with mathematics, there are conferences. That's the idea of multiple universe. Es gibt also, wenn man heute mal guckt, so viele Theorien. Eine Theorie ist die Stringtheorie, die andere Theorie ist, dass multiple Universen existieren, weil jedes Mal, wenn du eine Handlung machst, dann gibt es einmal einen Quantum-Effekt und dann gibt es eine Parallelwelt, die dann entsteht. And if you look in the internet, after a couple of days, I did this in India, my mind was boggling. I had to stop it because it became crazy. Ich habe in Indien dann also eine Internetrecherche gemacht und mir das alles mal reingezogen, auch verschiedene Wissenschaftler angehört. Und irgendwann musste ich dann aufhören, weil es so chaotisch wurde. Weil die alle ganz genau sagen, es muss so und so und so und so und so sein. Okay, next. So it's a very wonderful thing. And one of the biggest questions they all have, and one of the questions which they denied actually, was, is our mind, what role our mind actually plays in the whole thing? Because we are the observer. We are observing the world all the time. So the big question scientists all the time had in all these questions also, do we have any impact when we observe this world? is the mind entangled? Also die große Frage war immer, ist unser Geist mit der Materie in irgendeiner Form verbunden? Ist da eine Wechselwirkung? Das war immer die große Frage in der Wissenschaft auch. 200 years ago, 300 years ago, one always was believing that the mind is entangled with matter. That's where meditation comes, that's where prayer comes, these were good thoughts, the power of positive thinking. All these concepts and ideas come from the understanding our mind has an impact. Man hat also früher immer gedacht, dass der Geist und die Materie miteinander verbunden sind. Daher kommt Meditation, positive Gedanken, Gebete, etc., etc., etc. With the Industrial Revolution and the mechanistic worldview, this all got wiped. And they say, no, it's only science, only what we can measure. What we cannot measure doesn't exist. Also vor 200 Jahren hat man dann den Geist rausgeschmissen und hat gesagt, er hat keinen Einfluss, weil wir können den Geist nicht messen. So now let us see what actually quantum field is saying to the whole story. Because in quantum theory, it gets interesting. Because in quantum, there is an experiment where the mind dictates the outcome of the experiment. It's called the double slit experiment. So, and in quantum, I looked it all up, and in quantum, there again, the tree of one quantum has grown into many quantum theories already. Means each science theory has already split in many, many different ideas. Also auch im Quantum-Wissenschaft ist der Baum, der am Anfang noch einheitlich war, jetzt in viele, viele Branches hat sich begeben. And you will find a lot of theories and models which try to explain the behavior of the mind in respect to what's matter. Also viele, viele verschiedene Theorien, die versuchen, das alles zu erklären. Diese Hypothesen, this hypothesis of quantum mind, they call it quantum mind, remains hypothetical speculation. Debate is going on for more than 100 years. Also man nennt es den Quantumgeist und seit 100 Jahren debattieren sie, ob der Geist einen Einfluss hat, ja oder nein. And there is the idea of the multiple universes, multiple universen. They are searching for the God particle, Higgs boson. Habt ihr vielleicht schon mal gehört? Good. For the good particle, for the God particle. So, die suchen also auch den Gottespartikel, den kleinsten unteilbaren, the smallest and no more dividable particle. They call it the God particle, and they call it Higgs boson. But they still look outside in matter. They still look in the matter, and they don't look in the soul or for God, you know, in the subtle. But some scientists are also now slowly changing because they understand that the smaller you go, it becomes energy and it becomes information. Also einige Wissenschaftler ändern sich jetzt auch und suchen jetzt auch im geistigen Gebiet, weil sie herausgefunden haben, je kleiner man geht, alles ist nur noch Energie, nichts ist fest und es ist nur Energie und Information. So, what is clear that science so far rejects the idea of the soul and God. Hier habe ich jetzt richtig geschrieben. They call it the intelligence creation. Now something is very funny. There are some scientists, they made a calculation and they say that this earth is being created and we are living on it and we can breathe and we can think and we can observe and all this is working out. The chances that this is an accident is 1 to 100 billion times. So it means there has to be a intelligence in the creation. It cannot be an accident. And they call this intelligence God. That's God. Science is not calling him God. They call this intelligence in creation. They say there must be a higher information somewhere, which created this world as it is, this universe. Because there are so many specialities in this creation that life is happening, that we are existing, that we can breathe, that we can think, that art, music, this, that, all functions. It cannot be an accident. Also in der Wissenschaft erlaubt man zumindest Gott einen Platz als Intelligenz. Man sagt, da ist eine Intelligenz, die war in der Kreation mit drinne, sonst, weil das ist alles kein Zufall, die ganze Welt. Es ist zu kompliziert und zu wunderbar alles geschaffen. Da muss eine Intelligenz sein. So they call this intelligence God. So, and in science, there have been many, many experiments since 30, 40, 50 years under scientific conditions, where they try to find out about the impact of the mind into matter. I will not go in all these experiments, but there is a Pearl experiment, William Tiller experiment, Rupert Sheldrake, Albert Popp is a German, biophoton, healing through prayer, and Emoto water crystals. Next one. I will just show you some. And es gibt also seit 40 Jahren sehr viel Forschung, wo man Geist, Materie, Überschneidungen versucht herauszufinden. Ich werde jetzt in einige vorstellen. Here we find Ellen Lange. She's a professor at Harvard. She's very, very famous. And she's founder of positive psychology, studies the illusion of control, decision-making, aging and mindfulness. Also die Ellen Lange ist Professor in Harvard und sie hat viele Studien gemacht über positive Psychologie, Illusion, Entscheidungsfindung und Mindfulness Theory. She's quite well known. And she did a lot of different experiments already in the 80s. Sie hat in den 80ern schon viele bahnbrechende Experimente gemacht. Eins zum Beispiel über Aging. One experiment about aging. She put 10 people in old people of age of 80. She did a health checkup. They all had some problems, this and that, with ages 80. And then in house A was all normal, but house B was designed like 40 years before. So house B was designed like 1959. Furniture, newspapers, books, the television was black and white, and the news was from 1959. And she told them, and they had to dress in cloth of 1959. They cooked the food of that time, and she told them to talk about things of the 50s. These 10 people, these old people. After after 1 month, she examined both groups again. 10 people who were living in the normal house and 10 people who were living in a house where there was the illusion of 40 years before. And it was quite shocking because many of the chronic diseases in this house, which was designed in the style of the 1960s, had vanished in the patients because they felt they're living 30 years before, because they were reading newspapers of the 60s, television news of the 60s, the books, they talked about the 60s. And some of these old people, they said, we want to leave the old age home and we want to travel the world. It was quite shocking. So this shows that the mind has an incredible effect on the aging and on sickness. If you feel old, you will become old. And if you feel young, you stay young. You cannot be deaf, but you can prolong it quite substantially. And that's what you sometimes see with the yogis. So, sie hat also dieses Experiment gemacht und was rausgekommen ist, war sehr schockierend. Ein Haus war normal eingerichtet, ein Haus war im Stile der 60er Jahre eingerichtet. Und dort, wo die alten Leute gelebt haben im Stil der 60er Jahre, da sind die Krankheiten zurückgegangen, die haben sich jünger gefühlt. Und das Resultat war, dass also der Mindset oder die geistige Einstellung die zentrale Rolle im Alterungsprozess spielt. Wenn du dich jung fühlst, bleibst du jung. Wenn du denkst, ich bin alt, wirst du alt. Ja? Und this was published and repeated, and it's one of these benchmark famous experiments, you know. So basically, our mind plays a very central role in everything, what happens to us. And it's the long term, you know, over a couple of years, you know. And slowly you age first in your mind, and then the body follows. It's quite interesting. So, this was one very nice experiment. And next one, please. And she did also an experiment with young students It's called the crossword puzzle. Sie hat also auch ein Experiment mit Studenten gemacht, das Crossword mit einem Kreuzworträtsel. Und sie hatte 50 Studenten und die hat in 2 Gruppen eingeteilt und eine Gruppe musste positive Kreuzworträtsel lösen und eine Gruppe musste negative. One group had positive and one group negative crossword puzzle. So tell me some positive words.
Positive.
Positive? Some positive words.
Harmony.
Huh?
Love.
Love,
Cooperation.
cooperation,
Happiness.
happiness,
Peace.
peace, rich, healthy. And now tell me some bad crossword puzzles.
Ugly.
Huh?
Ugly.
Ugly, hairless. Oh, that's bad one. Okay, ugly and anger. Huh? Huh?
Krieg.
Diarrhea. Diarrhea is also bad. Diarrhea. Okay, so these are the bad words. And then what she did is, and they had to solve the crossword puzzle for two hours. Also sie hat 2 Gruppen gemacht und eine Gruppe musste positive Kreuzwort lösen und eine musste negative Kreuzwort lösen. Und nach 2 Stunden mussten die dann alle in den 3. Stock in ein anderes Gebäude gehen. And after 2 hours of this, the students had to go into another building on the 3rd floor. She sent one after the other. But she stopped the time and she had a camera on the stairs, you know. So what happened was quite shocking. They're all students of young age. So the students with the good crossword puzzle, they were all dum, 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 and then the stairs, bloop, 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 and they were up. Whilst the the students with the bad crossword puzzle, they took double the time, all of them. And when the stairs came, they're like, oh, they walked like old people up the stairs. They had no energy. It was quite dramatic. Also das positive Kreuzwort zu lösen hatten mehr Energie, waren doppelt so schnell im 3. Stock und die das Negative hatten, die haben sich wie alte Leute verhalten. So the result was quite shocking. It means the power of your thoughts. What is Baba telling us? Mansa Seva, service of your mind, bless yourself, bless others, be positive. Yeah?
What was the name of this woman?
Ellen Lange.
Ellen Lange.
Yeah? So that's quite amazing. Yeah? Of course, you sometimes deal with the karma of the past, and then it needs a lot of positive thinking to overcome the karma of the past. But these are the results of these experiments. Yeah? Also man hat ja auch manchmal Karma aus der Vergangenheit, aber da braucht man auch ein bisschen mehr positive Gedanken, wenn das Karma sehr stark ist aus der Vergangenheit. Next, please. So, and there's another very interesting result which I would like to share. I spoke earlier. That's called double slit experiment in quantum physics. It's a very famous experiment. So, which also shows how mind is connected into the physical reality. So science wanted to find out what's the nature of light. So they made an experiment. Here's a light, here's a wall with 2 holes, and here's a screen. And then if light is a particle, you get 1 particle here and you get a light here. And if 1 particle here and a light here, if light is a wave, you get here many, many waves and then interference, and you get a design like this on the screen. So the problem was sometimes the scientists got this result, sometimes they got that result. So sometimes light behaved like a particle and sometimes light behaved like a wave. But that's not possible. It has to be either this or either that. So they made a lot of experiments in this and that. And finally, they find out that something is influencing the outcome of the experiment. Who knows what it is?
Der Beobachter.
Yes, it's the observer. Ist der Beobachter. Also Wissenschaftler wollten herausfinden, was ist die Natur von Licht? Ist es ein Partikel oder ist es eine Welle? Und die Ergebnisse waren unterschiedlich. Und dann haben sie herausgefunden, der Beobachter hat den Einfluss, wie sich das Licht verhält. The observer actually influences the outcome of the result. If I observe, I freeze the light and it becomes a particle. And if I look away, light becomes a wave. No? And that is something which baffled scientists and made them a little bit crazy. and which shows very clearly that our mind and our matter is interconnected. So, and what does it mean? It means our thoughts and our vision do actually create reality. There have been many, many, many more experiments in science. It's not enough time, you know, but they're like books and books and books where they did experiments with students in Harvard, in Oxford, in many, many famous universities. Thorsten is very much into all this because he's doing some of these experiments also. And in Spark, they have an equipment where you take some sticks and you try to influence also some machine which they bought from Germany. So our thoughts have a very powerful impact into physical reality. Unsere Gedanken haben also sehr kraftvollen Einfluss in die physikalische Realität. I would like to show you one experiment we are doing in India. It's called yogic farming. And there we teach the farmers to meditate with the seeds. And we did experiment with 5,000 farmers. And the experiments were quite stunning. Meditate in the morning with the seeds, meditate with the field, and meditate with the water, give good intention and love to the seeds and everything. And the results were quite stunning. Wir haben also Meditation gemacht mit dem yogischen Farming, positive Gedanken für die Samen und positive Gedanken für das Erde und positive Gedanken für das Wasser. Und die Resultate waren also sehr, sehr, sehr dramatisch. And we did it with 5,000 farmers. And now we are doing we are identifying 70 farms in India as a prototype where we do yogic farming, and it's in collaboration with the Indian Ministry of Agriculture. Also die Ergebnisse sind so dramatisch, dass wir jetzt 70 Farmen ausgewählt haben und dort Experimente machen, die mit yogischem Farming sozusagen betreiben. Und hier seht ihr die Resultate. You can see the results from the carrots, for example. This is chemical, means normal carrots with chemical fertilizer. This is with yogic farming, only love and compassion. And this is organic. And these are also the most tasty one. Also hier seht ihr die Resultate, chemisch, yogic farming und organisch. Und ihr seht, die yogic farming sind die größten. And no bugs. You can tell also, you can tell to the bugs, don't go in my field. Next one, please. So you meditate with the bugs also and you tell them, please don't go in my fields. Wir meditieren also auch mit den Käfern, mit den Insekten und sagen, bitte geh nicht in unser Feld, und dann funktioniert es zum Großteil.
Auch bei Wühlmäusen?
You can try. Well, Wühlmäusen sind there very quickly. So here you see the result with wheat, without meditation and with meditation. Hier seht ihr zum Beispiel das Resultat mit Getreide, mit Meditation und ohne Meditation. Und der Piero has done it in Italy at Casa Sangha. Some BKs have done it, and we have a lot of farmland in Shantivan where we are doing yogic farming. And now we identified 70 farms, and that is done by the rural wing in Brahma Kumaris, and this is Rajubai. Huh? Huh? So it's quite a big thing, and there's a very interesting web page. You will find more information. Very interesting. So der Rajubai macht es. Wir haben jetzt 70 Farmen identifiziert, da werden wir das alles machen mit dem Yogic Farming. Und da gibt es eine interessante Webpage, da finden wir mehr Informationen. Ja, Leonardo da Vinci hat gesagt, realize that everything connects to everything else. So Leonardo da Vinci told us, hat uns gesagt, everything, alles ist mit allem verbunden. So now you maybe realize when Baba says that we are the masters of the world. And Baba tells us, children, time is with you. Creation is with you. And you're masters of the world. Baba sagt uns immer, ihr seid die Meister der Welt, Meister der Zeit. Und jetzt verstehen wir das vielleicht. Ja, und das ist the new paradigm, die neue Geisteshaltung. My inner world and the outer world are interconnected. Und das ist das neue Paradigma, der neue Leitsatz für die Zukunft. Die innere Welt und die äußere Welt sind miteinander verbunden. Our mindset, our thoughts, emotion, feeling, visualizations are connected to the past. Now comes the tricky part, why we cannot just take Baba's knowledge and implement it and do it, because every day we read the Murli, love each other, forgive each other, have good thoughts for each other, have compassion, especially for all the other Brahmins there. And then when this Brahmin shows up, everything is forgotten, and something totally different happens. Because why? Because karma of the past, very powerful. The actions of the past are all the time there in our energy field, and we cannot just throw them out by wishful thinking. What we have to do? What is cracking the karma?
Transformation.
Yoga.
Yoga.
Connection.
Today, Baba said.
Yoga. Next. And we have to start think positive about the self. Every morning, I'm a good person, everything will be all right. Wir müssen also morgens uns immer schön segnen. Wenn wir morgens aufstehen, ich bin okay, alles wird gut. And once we master that, think positive on others. Können wir anfangen, andere auch zu segnen, wenn wir das hinbekommen. Und dann das dritte ist, think positive upon the world. Then we can give blessings into the world and we can become a flying angel. And meditation. Baba always says meditation or yoga is the key to bring that transformation and slowly burn or transform the karma, the influence, the energy field of the past. Because in our aura, the energy field of the past is all the time present in form of vibrations. And when we meet somebody who has also some karma, with whom I have karma, the vibrations collide. And then some bad words, some bad feelings happens, and because karma of the past. Also wenn wir jemanden treffen, mit dem wir Karma haben, dann kollidieren die Vibrationen und dann gibt es schlechte Gedanken oder schlechte Worte sogar. So, meditation and change of thoughts are cooling your mind, create a new reality and a better world. Next, please. So, and I would like to just give a reminder of Daddy Janki. I was so lucky many of us have met Daddy and were lucky. And shows such a beautiful example of strength and determination. And faith, and many critical situation, I could see Daddy, she says, we will get it done. Everything will happen. And she was so powerful. One time I had a problem and she said, Daddy will send Sakash in the morning. And I said, okay, what will Sakash help in the morning? Einmal hatte ich Problem und dann hat Daddy gesagt, sie wird morgens Sakash, also gute Gedanken schicken. Und da habe ich noch gedacht, naja, was soll das denn helfen bei dem Problem? And then I sit Amrit Vela at 4 o'clock and suddenly I was like, ooh, I thought, wow, that's powerful. And really, really, I could feel it, and that was Daddy Sakash. She said she will send at 4 o'clock. Und dann morgens um 4 habe ich dann mitgekriegt, wie Daddys Energie kam. Sehr, sehr powerful. Next. And Daddy gave an explanation. Daddy always said to us, become an angel, helper of God, loving, compassionate, and be a healer for the world and be a guide to the light. And I found this angel, it's a Bk painting, and I liked it very, very much because this is actually showing what we should become at the end. And Baba said transformation will go on until the last moment. So Daddy hat immer gesagt, werdet ein Helfer für Gott, lieblich und Mitgefühl, seid ein Heiler für die Welt und ein Führer zum Licht. Und wunderschönes Bild von einem Bk gemalt. Ein Engel, der die Welt hält. An angel which keeps the world. And Daddy always gave an explanation about karma, which I never forget, because it explains a lot. Because sometimes people think, when do I have karma? What is the indicator for karma? And Daddy gave 3 indications. She said, you want something and it does not happen. We all want to become perfect. Huh? It's not happening. I wanted to become a famous singer. I can sing actually quite good. But nobody else beside me recognizes it. Don't laugh. I could have become a famous opera singer if I would not have missed the chance because of this Brahma Kumaris. I was 24 and just starting my career, and then karma came. Means you want something and it doesn't happen. You want to become rich. You all want to become rich and famous. Doesn't happen. No. Or you want to have super health. Ooh, it doesn't happen. Or you want that other Brahmins recognize you as a super duper yogi, but just nothing happens, you know, because karma. You have the thought, but in your vibrational field, there's a shadow. And your thought cannot penetrate to the shadow and create the reality, which is actually supposed to do. Your thoughts should become reality, but because of the shadow, mismatch of vibration, it's not happening. That's one sign. The next sign is suddenly something happens to you. Also Daddy hat 3, sorry, I get carried. Entschuldigung, ich werde sehr enthusiastisch und vergesse das Deutsch. Also Daddy hat mal 3 Erklärungen für Karma gegeben. Und sie hat gesagt, 3 Zeichen. Das erste Zeichen ist, du möchtest etwas, aber es klappt nicht. Ich wollte perfekt werden, aber es funktioniert nicht. Ich wollte ein berühmter Operasänger werden, es funktioniert nicht. Wir wollten alle reich werden und erfolgreich und die Brahmanen sollen uns endlich alle erkennen als Superyogis, aber das klappt alles nicht. Hammer. Deine Energie, dein Wunsch kann nicht durch den Schatten in deiner Aura durchgehen und in die Realität sich manifestieren. Das zweite, something happens to you. Second sign is, es passiert plötzlich etwas. You know, I was flying last year to the climate conference in Glasgow, and I had every papers, COVID papers, this, that, already checked in with my luggage. And then I came to the immigration, and the guy said, okay, I said, here's my passport. And then he said, where's your registration? So I had a visa, valid visa and everything, but I had a student visa, which I have to register within 2 weeks. So when I arrived in India, I registered immediately, but in Delhi, they didn't come back with the registration. So I showed him, I have registered, but they have not yet replied. He said, nothing, you cannot fly. I said, what? I said, please, sir, call your boss. He called the boss. I said, Paisab, I'm from Brahma Kumaris, you make something. I have to go to climate conference. He said, no, you cannot fly. They took my luggage and kicked me out of the flight. I felt so miserable. I was back in Lotus House 4 o'clock in the morning, and my Emirates flight left and I could hear the flight going off, and I felt, oh. And I sent a WhatsApp to London, I cannot come, I'm not registered. Full disaster. I felt like miserable of the miserablest. Then I rang 10 o'clock to Morton J. Bai. Morton J. Bai, registration, we'll fix it. Morton J. rang to the Ministry of Home Affairs, to one secretary. I rang to one brother. I said, I have to fly to London for the climate conference. He says, evening is Air India going directly. I said, book me. So he booked me. An hour later, the registration came. Same day, I was on the Air India flight, and I reached to the climate conference 4 hours later. So, karma. Now I check 5 times that I have all the papers when I go. Ne? Also Karma, ich wollte nach Glasgow fliegen zur Klimakonferenz und es hat eine Registrierung gefehlt und der haben mich aus dem Flug rausgeschmissen. Und dann musste ich alles ändern, neue Registrierung besorgen, neuen Flug, pipapo. Am Ende hat alles geklappt. Ich bin 4 Stunden später, aber ich habe mich sehr schlecht gefühlt. This was karma from the past. And you might all experience this, you know, something suddenly happens. You know, something breaks down. You know, I was visiting my brother and they have a new car, electric car, brand new. And I saw, oh, there's a dent here. And then I said, oops, there's a dent there also. On both sides, on the mudguard, is a little dent. And then my brother said, yeah, this one was Bettina, his wife, and this one was himself. And I said, wow, and what to do? He says it's a leased car in leasing, and they have to repair it. They have to repair it. And it's 7,000 euros. 7,000 euros. Just Kratzer, scratch. Little dent is a kleine Beule. Like you had in your car, in the Golf. Ja, ja. So, mein Bruder hat ein neues Auto, ein E-Auto geleast und hat eine Delle reingefahren und die Bettina auch eine Delle rein, 7.000 Euro futsch. Ja. So easy, just like that, and you have a loss, and then you think, oh my God, and your brain is rotating. So, you all have this experience, suddenly something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the world of karma. And the third thing is, you are suffering from interactions with relative or friends or Brahmin. Who has that? I have that sometimes. Are you sometimes suffering in relation with Brahmins? Huh? Hands up, be true.
In times.
I put my hand up. I'm honest with you. Put your hands up. Okay, Christine. Okay, okay. So, quite seriously is with relatives, you know, because bondage, blood bondage, you know. And in India, it's very powerful. The parents want that you do this and you marry here and you take that job, and mostly the kids follow, even if they don't like it. So in Indien ist das dritte Zeichen ist, man leidet in Interaktion mit Verwandten oder Freunden. Und in Indien ist es sehr stark, speziell in der Familie, weil Familienbondage sehr stark ist in Indien. But we also have often expectations with the BKs. This is the most tricky. Don't worry, I'm in Madhuban, but you can add 2 zeros on the Madhuban in everything, also in the karma with all the other Madhuban unities. It's quite a story to live and survive there.
What do you do?
Huh?
What do you do?
I go every evening in history hall and I say, Baba.
I see you.
Huh?
I see you on the screen in history hall conducting meditation.
Yeah, many times. It's the blessing, you know. It's my salvation, I can say. So ich bin sehr gesegnet. Ich kann in Indien immer viel meditieren in der History Hall und in Indien auch sehr viel Karma unter den Brüdern und unter den Schwestern. In Deutschland auch a lot of Karma unter den Brüdern und unter den Schwestern. Viele expectations, many expectations we have, you know. And the tricky part is, now you cannot tell a person, another BK, to change. It's almost impossible.
You never.
Because many BKs are at the moment at the edge. The reason is all the karma comes up at the moment. Everything is boiling up. Everything in the body, in the mind, emotions, feelings, in relations, everything. It's boiling and boiling. And wherever you look in Brahmin family, but you also look outside in the world, it's like a mess.
Yeah.
It's like a mess. And sometimes, you know, I hear sometimes the stories in Madhuban, it's like, oops. And then, oh, this one did that. Oh, and then, oh. And I sometimes say, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I'm not involved directly. I have my own stories also, but sometimes I hear stories, I think, oh, bobble. I'm safe. So, in Madhuban auch sehr viele Geschichten, sehr viel Karma kommt hoch. weil jetzt die Zeit ist. Dharamraj kommt in die Nähe und überall kommt das Karma hoch und die Brahmanen, alle, aber auch in der Welt, alle haben sie mit dem Karma zu dealen. And this makes the time so tricky and so delicate, but also so, I would say, so special. It's an exciting time because we are in the final transformation, you know. That's why it's such a delicate time and tricky, but also very valuable. Wir sind in der letzten Zeit der Transformation und das macht die Zeit sehr wertvoll, aber auch sehr tricky, sehr trickreich. In Yagya we call it the last chapter has started. Im Yagya nennen wir das letzte Kapitel ist aufgeschlagen worden. And I just said to Raimund, I think in Madhuban is this picture in the history hall on top of the world tree when two missiles are flying each other. On one missile is a Russian guy sitting with a flag, and on the other is a US guy sitting with a flag. And I see this picture since 30, 40 years, and I say, oh, this will never happen. This is a bit funny, you know. And now we have Ukraine and Russia and NATO fighting, you know, and many believe this is the beginning of Third World War. So everything comes up now because it's the time. It's the time of the great cleaning. Es ist die Zeit der großen Reinigung. Und in Madhuban ist das Bild, wo die russische und die amerikanische Rakete aufeinander fliegen. Und wir sind halt in der Endzeit und alles kommt hoch. So, und da gibt es auch viel wissenschaftliche Hintergrund. There's a lot of scientific evidence about the effect and benefit of meditation. It increases social competence, deepens relaxation, improves health, increases brain cells and activity, but most important, it changes habits and awareness. It changes habits. When you're 14, you create in your brain what is called neuronal networks. These are your habits, and you stick to them. You like chocolate ice cream, you like sweet, and you like yellow cars. With 14, you fix all this, your likings and dislikings. Wenn man 14 ist, legt man fest seine neuronalen Netzwerke, was man mag und was man nicht mag. Welche Farbe, welches Essen, welches Auto, all das mit 14 hat man es festgelegt. And we are writing the computer program since 84 birth. Since 84 Geburten schreiben wir das Computerprogramm. And now Baba says, children, it's time to wipe it, to clean it and start fresh. Baba sagt uns jetzt, Kinder, löst das alte Computerprogramm auf. And they find out in meditation, if you do regular meditation, intense meditation, you change your neuronal networks and you are able to change habits. And this is what Baba tells us. When you meditate, you remember me, you change your sanskars. And you burn the old karma, which is haunting you in form of old habits. These are the old habits that's connected to the old karma. So das alte Karma ist verbunden mit euren Neigungen. Und durch das Yoga kann man sie auflösen. And there's a lot of evidence about all this in science literature. Next, please. Es gibt sehr viele Hinweise in der Wissenschaft über den Effekt und den Benefit der Meditation. Hier sehen wir Neuroscience, Yoga, Meditation. All these are science articles where you will find write-ups, ideas, concepts, how meditation helps the mind. Baba calls it purification of the mind. Baba sagt, der Mind wird gereinigt, der Geist wird gereinigt. Und hier sind die ganzen Artikel. It's all in English, but a bit complicated, but it's nevertheless there. Next, please. So, Mahatma Gandhi, very famous guy, said, always aim at complete harmony of thought, word, and deed. Always aim at purifying your thoughts and everything will be well. Mahatma Gandhi hat also gesagt, immer habt Harmonie in den Gedanken, Worten und euren Handlungen und habt immer den Wunsch, habt immer reine Gedanken und alles wird gut. Huh? That's the same what Baba says. Ne? Everything will be all right. You just remember me and everything will be all right. Das ist das Gleiche, was der Baba sagt. Als ich in Madhuban angekommen bin, vor 30 Jahren, als ich mich da niedergelassen habe, vor 35 Jahren, da fing, 30 years ago when I started settling in Madhuban, so many problems happened, and I went to Nera, I said, what's going on? You know, I said, and then Nera said, Golo, he said, everybody who comes to Madhuban, he has to suffer. I said, what? He says, yes. I've seen it. Well, everybody who comes and stays there, he has to go through a period of adjustment, of suffering. Because you adjust and you have all the karma with this person. With, you know, I had so much karma with all these Madhubani vases you cannot imagine. And I had no clue what is what. You know, I didn't know who's in charge for this, who's in charge for that. And many times I overstepped, you know. And they don't like it if you overstep, especially foreigners. So anyhow, it was good fun. And then I said, so I asked Nirabhai what to do. And he said, you have to follow Srimad. That will help. That was all. So am Anfang, als ich nach Madhuban kam, hatte ich so viele Probleme, ne? Weil ich kannte die ganzen Leute nicht, wer was, wo, wann, wie und habe immer gemerkt, dass man ganz schön am Leiden ist. Und dann habe ich den Lehrer gefragt und er hat gesagt, you have to follow Srimad. Ihr müsst Srimad folgen, damit alles gut. So that's the same what Baba says, what Mahatma Gandhi says. So it must be true. Ne?
Was ist denn Srimad?
Srimad ist der höchste Rat, dass du also regelmäßig studierst, dass du reines Essen zu dir nimmst, reine Gesellschaft und was ist das vierte? Studieren, Yoga, study, gute Gesellschaft and good food. These are the 4 pillars on which the yogi sits. And if one pillar is weak, you lose balance. Also man muss auf diesen 4 Säulen sitzen, dann ist der Sitz stabil. Da sitzt der Yogi drauf, auf dem Schwung. Okay. So, what should we do now? Intensify our meditation. And half a year ago, I decided that's it. When this Ukraine war became more and more nasty, I decided that's it, that's the end. And I have to now really do what I have to do. You know, like rough, no more diddle-de-daddle-de-doodle. And so I intensified my meditation and tried to make Amrit Vela also powerful. Because I'm a bit lazy chap, you know, sitting morning. And I have to sit like in the evening, you know, make it powerful. So ein halbes Jahr ungefähr ist es her, da habe ich beschlossen, jetzt muss ich langsam in die Puschen kommen und mein Yoga kraftvoll machen. Amrit Vela auch kraftvoll machen und Abendmeditation kraftvoll machen. And then we should imagine our perfect world. So what's your perfect world? You have some ideas? Loving. Love is the central theme, and Albert Einstein said, very important, knowledge is limited, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and to understand. Einstein hat also gesagt, das Wissen ist limitiert. Wissenschaft ist limitiert. Aber Imagination, da nimmst du alles mit. Next. Und we shall imagine our perfect world. Baba says many times, emerge the next golden age. And the central theme in golden age will be love. You know, everything is surrounded by love. And it starts that you love yourself and you accept yourself and you accept what you have done in the past with a lot of love and forgive yourself. Also das Wichtigste ist die Liebe. Da dreht sich alles drum, dass man sich selber liebt und dass man sich selber auch vergeben kann. And from love, then everything else springs off. Then comes harmony and peace and beauty. Our golden age will be very beautiful. Satyuga will be very beautiful. Ne? Perfection, purity, bliss, prosperity, happiness, timeless and just. Das sind also all die Begriffe, Frieden, Harmonie, Schönheit, Perfektion, Reinheit, Segen, Reichtum, Glück, zeitlos und Gerechtigkeit. All is connected to love. And this is the world of Satyuga. Now, as we have seen, the mind has an impact into the world. And our thoughts have an impact into the world. And creation is nothing else and nothing more than visualizing these concepts, visualizing these ideas, visualizing the frequency and the energy which is connected with these words. And then you project them. And you become an angel and project them in the whole physical realm. Not only the world, the moon, the universe, our star system, the whole solar system. All you give the love and the compassion. And then matter will follow. And when you will become a point, an angel, matter will fall into the singularity, into the purest form of existence. Time and space will collapse. Everything will stop. And that's what Baba said, at the end, time will stop. Everything will stop. There will be death, silence. And death, silence means stop everything movement. Even atoms will stop oscillating. Also eben habe ich erklärt, was habe ich denn erklärt? Jetzt muss ich das auf Deutsch erklären. That's a challenge. So.
Go back.
Also, deshalb ist es so wichtig, it's quite a challenge, deshalb ist es so wichtig, dass wir diese Begriffe jetzt visualisieren und die Energie, die damit verbunden ist, nach außen projizieren. Und dadurch schaffen wir dann eigentlich auch das nächste goldene Zeitalter, weil all diese Ideen und Konzepte sind mit einer Frequenz verbunden, mit einer Energie verbunden und wir projizieren das nach außen und so schöpfen wir eigentlich die neue Welt. Wir kreieren die neue Welt durch die Kraft unseres Geistes. Und wenn wir dann in die Samenstufe gehen, in den Punkt, dann hört auch die Zeit auf. Und Baba hat gesagt, am Ende ist eine Totenstille. Und wenn die Zeit aufhört, dann hört auch der Space auf. Und dann sind wir in der Singularität. Und dann fängt wieder das nächste neue Universum an. So, I come to the end of this presentation. This is the second last slide. And I hope I gave you a lot of information. This is a bit my thinking. I think since I come in Gyan, I think about these things. And I always read a little bit about science and this and that, but it's such a vast field and it's highly complicated and complex. And so many theories, and they also don't know 100% what they believe or not, and this and that. But I hope I could give you a bit of an overview. What are the different concepts in science, how science started, what are the different ideas and concepts and this and that. And that science itself also cannot fix everything. Ich habe jetzt also in diesem Vortrag mal alles zusammengefasst, was ich schon seit vielen, vielen Jahren, seit über 30, 40 Jahren so denke und immer wieder auch was gelesen über die Wissenschaft. Aber es ist sehr kontrovers, es ist sehr vielschichtig, so viele verschiedene Ideen. Und ich habe alles mal so ein bisschen zusammengefasst, auch die Geschichte der Wissenschaft und auch versucht darzustellen, dass die Wissenschaft selber Schwierigkeiten hat, alles zu erklären. Weil sie nicht jenseits der Materie gehen kann, sondern alles versucht, über die Materie zu erklären. Aber die Seele ist natürlich jenseits, ist nicht materiell. And I explained also a bit about karma, why it is not easy to transform immediately. I explained about power of our thought. How our thoughts, they reach, they influence the seeds, the plants, they influence other BKs, they influence our body, our health, they influence our aging process, everything. That's why Baba says, give drishti to the food, purify the food, bring it on a higher energy level. Baba gives us actually all these yuktis. He doesn't explain about the science. I've explained a bit the science, to make it a bit more clear and to build a bridge. Ich habe also jetzt ein bisschen die Wissenschaft erklärt und auch Babas Wissen, um eine Brücke zu bauen, dass man verstehen kann, warum wir Trishti zum Essen geben, warum wir gute Gedanken haben sollen und warum unser Mind, unsere Einstellung so einen starken Einfluss hat auf unser Älterwerden, auf die Gesundheit des Körpers, etc., etc., etc. I hope that you feel a bit inspired and think now in a broader aspect about your true potential, your creative potential, and also about creation and destruction. And that Baba always says the clock is with the children. He says, you have the clock of the world in your hands. And now you maybe understand what is time, what is space. And if we become a point, time and space stops. And then this is what the scientists call the singularity comes. Also ich habe jetzt diese Verbindung gemacht mit auch unseren Gedanken, wenn wir in die Samenstube gehen, dass dann Zeit und Raum stillsteht und dass dann auch diese Singularität kommt und dass wir halt ein unheimlich starkes, ein unheimlich großes kreatives Potenzial haben. And sometimes we are stuck in our small little dramas, in our small little worlds, you know, little jobs, Frankfurt, I'm in my Madhuban thing and this and that. But there's this huge picture also of Baba's Gyan, that we're creative angels and create a new world. And we have to see the big picture, because the big picture gives enthusiasm and makes it so funny and so joyful. And it helps to overcome the small nitty-gritty of day-to-day what's going on. So ich hoffe, wir können alle das große Bild sehen, dass wir dieses Potenzial haben und eine neue Welt erschaffen. Und es hilft uns, über diese kleinen Dinge hinüberzukommen. And it also helps us to forgive ourselves and forgive others. Because there's nothing better than you can do than to help others on that path. And that is by love and compassion, which is the most tricky. Ja, und es gibt nichts Größeres, als anderen zu helfen, auf ihrem Pfad zum Licht zu kommen. Und die Liebe und das Mitgefühl ist natürlich die größte Hilfe. Und es ist natürlich dann auch die größte Herausforderung für uns. So, I thank you very much. I hope you are inspired. And let us have some 5-minute meditation.
Can we thank you now?
I don't know, no. Baba is...
Oder kann man den Vortrag nochmal irgendwo, gibt es einen Link?
I think this is... It will be on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Vielen Dank.
Yeah, vielen Dank. Danke. Thank you very much to our listeners on the internet. I hope the translation was not too chaotic. Thank you for the audience also here. Vielen Dank für die Leute, die hierher gekommen sind. Vielen Dank für die Audience. War ich jetzt auch in Deutsch oder Englisch? Vielen Dank. Und jetzt machen wir eine Meditation. So langsam ist jetzt.
Nee, ganz gut.
Slowly my English-German translation main switches.
English.
German English, ja.
Ja, sehr schön.
Ja. Es gibt noch Segenskarten und Tolis gibt's.
Say